Hello, so today we're going to be going over how to factor a quadratic when our leading coefficient or our a value is equal to 1. So before we actually get into the math, I just want to show you that what we're doing is we're taking this standard polynomial and we're breaking it up into two binomials, which is this right here, of the form x plus or minus some number times x plus or minus some other number, and we're saying that when we multiply those together, it'll equal our original polynomial. Now, something to keep in mind for this is that the method I'm going to show you today only works when our a value is equal to 1. When our a value is not equal to 1, there are other forms of factoring that we have to use. Now, just a quick just to quickly show what I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to be doing three different examples. A pretty easy one, like kind of simple, just to show you the concept of it. And then we're going to be going through one that applies more math, and then one that actually has different signs being used. So we're going to start with our one that's a little bit simpler. Uh, First thing that we're going to do is we're going to go through each term and we're going to identify our a value, our b value, and our c value. So our a value is going to be equal to 1, our b value is going to be equal to 2, and our c value is going to be equal to 1 as well. So something that we're going to do is we're going to check our a value. Since our a value is equal to 1, we know that we can factor using the method I'm about to show you. So first step when we're factoring this is we're actually going to go through and we are trying to find, our whole goal for this is to find two numbers that multiply to be C and add up to be B. Now, our C value is equal to 1 and our B value is equal to 2. So, to find two numbers that multiply to be 1 and add up to be 2, we're going to break our C value into all of its different factors. So, the only factors it has are 1 and itself, right? So, usually what you do is you would go through each factor of your C and you would choose which one actually adds up to be our B value, which is 2. In this case, we only have one option, so we have the option 1 and 1, and we know that 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So the two numbers that multiply to be C and add up to be B are 1 and 1. Now, we are going to use these numbers, and we're basically just going to plug them straight into our factored form. Since our A is equal to 1, we can use this. So we know that our x is going to be plus or minus some number times x times plus or minus some other number, right? Now, the numbers that actually get plugged in right here are the two numbers that we chose from our factors. So here we have 1 and 1. Now, they're going to keep the exact same sign that we used up here. So since these are both positive 1, our factored form is going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1. Now, moving on to our second example, this one will require us to use a little bit more math going through it because we're actually going to have more factors to choose from, but it's going to be the exact same process. So just like before, once you actually get used to factoring, you can actually skip this step. I'm doing it just so that you can see everything laid out and that you can actually understand the process a little bit simpler. So we have our A value, our B value, and our C value, which are just the numbers attached to each term. So our A value is 1, our B value is 13, and our C value is 42. So in this example, we're actually going to find two numbers that multiply to be 42 and add up to be 13. So, like I said before, we're going to be using a little bit more math, right? So we're going to break up this 42 into a bunch of its different factors, right? So we're going to start at 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, and 6 and 7. Now, What we're going to do is we're going to go down through each factor in this list and we're going to add them together and we're going to see, does this add up to be 13? Now, like I said, when you get used to factoring, this step will become a lot easier than it is right now. Sometimes at first you might need to actually break down everything into its factored form, but once you move on, once you actually get used to factoring and kind of get this down, this will become a lot faster of a step and you'll be able to recognize some of these things a lot faster. Just to show something that you might recognize fast, right, is 1 and 42, right? These obviously don't add up to be 13, so we can just kind of cancel that out. And we can kind of go through each one of these and do this, right? So 2 and 21 is 23, so that's not it. 3 and 14 is 17, that's also not it. 6 and 7 make 13. Now, this is our b value, so we know that 6 and 7 are the two numbers that multiply to be 42 and add up to be 13. So we'll just write those down right here. And remember, when we're going into our factored form, it's going to be of the form this, and we're going to plug these numbers directly in. And just like before, we're going to keep the exact same sign that we used in the factors, well, in the two numbers that we chose. So this is a positive 6 and a positive 7, so we have x plus 6 and x plus 7. So the factored form of x squared plus 13x plus 42 is x plus 6 times x plus 7. Now, we're going to move on to our final example, which is x squared minus 6x minus 16. So now that we've done this 2 times, I'm going to breeze through it a little bit quicker. If you get a little trouble with this, you can go back through the video and try to figure out how to do it from the first 2 examples. So our a is 1, our b is negative 6, and our c is negative 16. Now, from earlier, we're going to multiply to be our c term, which is negative 16, and we're going to add to be our b term, which is negative 6. So, just like in the last problem, right, we're going to break this negative 16 into all of its factors, but something that we'll have to keep in mind is that we're going to have to apply a negative sign somewhere because this is negative 16. So let's go ahead and list out all the factors of negative 16. So we have 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. Now, I haven't applied the negative sign to these factors yet because you can actually choose which one it needs to be applied to. So in this case, I can say negative 1 times 16, or I can say negative 16 times 1. Both of those equal negative 16. But where our negative sign applies actually matters for when we're adding to be our b term. So in this case, right, 1 minus 16 is going to be negative 15, and if we reverse that sign, we're going to get negative 1 plus 16, which is 15. And in this case down here, 4 plus 4 is going to be equal to 8, or 4 minus 4 is, sorry, either way it's going to be 0. 4, if we apply negative to either one of these, it's going to be 0, right? Now, this middle term, if we apply the negative to the 2, we're going to get 8 minus 2, which is going to give us 6. But we're not looking for 6, we're looking for negative 6. So in this case, we actually have to apply the negative to the 8. So 2 plus negative 8 is actually going to give us negative 6, which means our two numbers that we're looking for are 2 and negative 8. So keep in mind with this, whenever you're going through each factor, you might need to do a little bit of experimentation to figure out where is that negative sign going to be applied to, right? Because if we apply the negative to the 2, when we multiply those, they will be negative 16, but they will not add up to be negative 6. So just keep in mind, you have to remember that that sign actually matters for where you, which number you place it on. So in this case, our two numbers are 2 and negative 8. Now, if we go to our factor form, just like before, what we can do is we can plug in our 2 and we can plug in our 8. And we haven't actually had to do too much with this, right? I've been saying it every time, but there hasn't really been too much of a difference. So in this case, we have a positive 2, so this will be x plus 2, but we have a negative 8. which means that our negative carries over into our factored form. So this factored form will be x plus 2 times x minus 8. So that is all the examples we're running through today. If you have any questions, please leave them for me. I will answer anything I can. And yeah, good luck with your homework. Have a great day.